Welcome everybody to today's exciting Storyblok V2 launch event. We've heard lots of exciting news and stories from different people today, and it's really great to finally showcase some of these features. In this one of our final sessions, we're joined by a mix of our customers, agency experts, and some real industry experts, I would say, to have a real meaningful discussion around content and what CMS means into the future. So before we jump into some questions, I'd like to first just go around the group and introduce, I would like to introduce each of the panelists here today. So first we have Jonathan from Made People, our agency partner. Jonathan is the CTO and co-founder of our very important agency in Sweden. We also have Cathy McKnight, VP of Strategy and Consulting at the Content Advisory. Very excited to welcome you here today, Cathy. Thank you for joining. We have Telmo, who is Education First, one of our really important and long-term customers, I might add. And Telmo is a solution architect with them. Johannes is also joining us. Johannes is a senior developer with another one of our really important customers, Marco Polo. So now that we've introduced everybody, I'd like to just jump in quickly with the first question. And the first question I have on my list today, we've obviously talked a lot about V2 and the launch of V2 and some of the features that come with it. Can I ask, what are your first impressions? What really stand out to you guys about V2 and today and this week's launch? And maybe Jonathan, you could jump in first with some of your thoughts on that.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. I think that the biggest thing for me with V2 was that you managed to create a new interface that has more things. It's easier to find your blocks. It's easier to kind of structure your content and make sense out of it. But I think like the biggest thing for me, like intuitively, was that it felt like I was even closer to the content than before. I mean, the biggest thing for Storyblok has been always for us and for all of our clients that our clients can work with, like they are one with their brand when they build their content. And I feel like the feeling you get in the V2, apart from all the other improvements, are that you're even more integrated with your content.
No, thanks for that, Jonathan. Super glad to hear those positive initial reactions. Any other thoughts from the panel? Any other Storyblok users or any thoughts related to the same question? What were your first impressions of V2?
Hi, everyone. So, of course, being on the consulting side of things and helping organizations with their content strategies, content certainly in the accessibility and the conformability of content is important. But I think ultimately, unless a tool can be easily adopted, it can do all things for all people. But if it's not easy to use, then people aren't going to use it and it's all for naught. So I think the improvement in the user interface as well as the new visual editor are essential for user adoption and actual using the tool. So kudos on that.
Great. Thank you very much, Cathy. Telmo, any thoughts from your side on initial thoughts for V2?
Yeah, obviously, I would echo Jonathan, Cathy. I know the amount of time you guys have been working and polishing the V2 interface from the first beta we tested, and that's remarkable, the optimization in terms of the actual usability. But I have to say, on the technical side, I'm very happy with the speed of the APIs. That for us specifically on build systems and delivery is very important. It's one reason why we create infrastructure from time to time, just to accommodate for that, and the localization. So having the content in the US, for instance, that's actually a pretty good thing for delivery, since we have also global business, and it will make our life a lot easier. So all in all, kudos, great job.
Brilliant. Thanks, Telmo. I guess Sebastian's few words before our discussion here was quite meaningful for you there with those few points that you just mentioned. So thank you for that. Johannes, any thoughts from your side?
Yeah, I'm also very excited to see the new version. And you didn't even make just rebuild it, but you shipped already new features. So I'm thinking already in my head how we're going to implement that stuff. For example, dimensions, maybe for our future channels, who knows? But really excited to see all the improvements.
Great. Thank you very much, guys, for your thoughts on that. It's really nice and refreshing to hear your thoughts on V2. Another question that comes up, and we've talked a lot today about omnichannel delivery, storytelling, and content. Can you tell me a little bit more about what does storytelling and content mean to you? And maybe if we could get started this time with you, Cathy.
Thanks. Yeah, stories have been a part of human existence since day one. That is how we connect with people. That's how we track our history. And I think now, even more so, it's becoming more and more important. It took businesses a while to log into the fact that we need to be storytelling. So it's about pulling together the best suited content and the elements, so the different pieces of that content, to be able to evoke an emotion, a reaction that creates a positive connection with the topic at hand, as well as the company that's delivering it. And in order to stand out, it is about being able to pull those pieces together and be relatable. So I think that's where, storytelling in its essence, it's not just telling a good story, it's about telling a relatable story that connects with the audience.
No, thanks for that, Cathy. That's a very, very strong answer that I would also share the same opinion on. And I guess a follow-up question to that one is, what are the key topics or challenges that businesses are facing today when it comes to telling stories across multiple channels, delivering through that omni-channel approach? Jonathan, maybe you could jump in with some thoughts on that.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I think like one of the biggest things is that, for instance, you need kind of good structure on things, because there could be a case where you have different types of, or the same type of content, but it needs to end up in different scenarios. And I think sometimes you tend to create content like only for the website, for instance, or something else, and that limits you, and that that makes all of your communication kind of single tracked or whatever. But I think if you try to deconstruct the content more and more, I think that makes it easier to compose new things, and kind of lowers the threshold when you need to publish new content, for instance.
Yeah, no, great answer, Jonathan. Thanks for that insight. And I guess a follow-up question, maybe on the more technical side, what technologies will companies need to succeed in this new world of digital storytelling? And maybe Telmo, you could offer some insight on that.
I can try. I think at this stage in our lives where everything is getting detached, meaning going headless, also removed a lot of responsibilities from the CMS. I think a system or a series of systems that communicate efficiently with each other, like at scale, the architecture really is key. So depending on the company, leveraging localized content in tandem with data and insights, for instance, to produce personalization. It sounds simple, but that's a massive orchestration. So companies that ace this, I really believe that they really raise the bottom line.
Brilliant, brilliant. Thanks for that insight, Telmo. And another question, like in the real world, as a customer, Johannes, how do you feel you're successfully delivering these content experience as a heavy user of Storyblok?
Yeah, so we already heard this word headless multiple times, and this is exactly what we need, what Marco Polo needs. So currently we are in production with our online shop, and but we are having plans. So we're gonna rebuild our company page. We of course also using Storyblok there. We will have a B2B shop where we can also use Storyblok. So it's not really so a CMS that is connected to specific use case or specific technology. Should be able to use it whatever you want to have in the future, because sometimes you also don't know if you want to go for an app, you should be prepared, and that for headless is definitely the way to go. And it's maybe also not the thing of shipping to different front ends. It's kind of also to be connected or within your architecture. So it should be kind of an open system where you also can write data, in this case in your CMS, which is also important to us.
Thanks very much for that insight, Johannes. Super interesting as well. And another question for Cathy. We're talking a lot about the successes right now. Maybe could you give us a little bit of information? You're working and advising many different businesses. What common mistakes or what common content specific mistakes are you seeing out there?
So I think one big one is really not understanding the audience. So either treating all audiences the same or trying to be all things to all people all the time, which is virtually impossible. So really, narrowing down and focusing on some core audiences that you're going to target. Certainly there's going to be others that see the content, but creating the best dynamic experiences for those. And I think also one of the other big challenges is that many, I would say most probably, organizations think about content in final asset format. So they think, oh, I need a long form paper, or I need a blog post, or I need a video, rather than thinking about the various content components that they need to be able to deliver the best content in context to what the audience is looking for. So, when they think about doing a video with a subject matter expert or on a specific topic, not just thinking about one specific video, but thinking about all the things that they could do with that content and leverage it and get more out of it.
No, very interesting. I guess to throw that question out more broadly to the rest of the panel, what does good content look like in your thoughts? And maybe we can kick off with Telmo.
Sorry, now I was muted.
No worries.
I really think it's more of an enabler and more of a blocker, if that makes sense. So the technology itself will enable you to do things when you start orchestrating that you do not think of, but also one thing that I've seen across even my experience at EF, but my professional experience throughout, is that whenever it's easier to create content, people iterate more. When they iterate more, they get better content, they crop better images, and that creates in itself like a snowball that makes the bar higher for everything new that is delivered. So I think it's really more than enabler than it's necessarily sparking creativity, but not having blocks and technical blocks and kind of workflows that create a certain strife with a team make it that you can be more creative, if that makes sense. And that's definitely one of the reasons where with Storyblok, and it's one of the things that sets it apart.
Great, really good answer, Telmo. Really interested to hear that. Thank you for sharing. Anything else to add to that, Jonathan or Johannes, on the topic of what makes good content?
I mean, the less you need to think about different limitations as to the format where it's being published, I think the better. It goes on the same track as design versus development, and we all know the people who have gone the headless route. You can kind of disconnect those two, which gives designers more freedom, and less dependencies on tech. And I think with content it's the same, actually. So yeah.
Thanks, Jonathan. Anything to add, Johannes, or have we covered most topics?
Yeah. Also from my side, there shouldn't be a technical limitation. And what also helps if you are fast in shipping content, maintaining content, but also fast in developing new content elements, that's also a key success, I would say.
Yeah, no, strongly agree. Thanks, Johannes. And I guess a follow-up question to that, right? We're talking about what does successful content look like? We talked a lot today again about storytelling. What does the future of storytelling look like? Maybe Cathy, you could kick us off again on that one.
Sure. I think it will again continue to foster empathy and caring and connection between the audiences and the companies or brands that are delivering it. And it's about relatable content. So continuing to stay, again, connected to the audience. And I think meeting them where they are. So there's been some great examples of content, particularly like content marketing, where they're thinking outside of the box. They're thinking beyond, their .coms and even beyond social and moving into things like Discord and various other channels. And it's about making that connection with the audience where they are at the time. That's relevant.
Great. Thanks for your insight on that, Cathy. And I guess a follow-up question, we talk a lot today, and it is our goal at Storyblok to build the future-proofed CMS, you know, and to throw that question out to the room, we're talking about the future of storytelling, what good content looks like. What does a future-proof CMS look like? Maybe we could start with Telmo.
So I really believe in the open extensibility plugins integration. And again, there are a few products that already have that. But that usability focus, like having the detached data sources, but still having kind of a very localized, very rich experience is key. Having a great asset manager, and as time goes by, maybe even integrations with digital asset managers, but also real-time collaboration capabilities. Like at the end of the day, it's really about creating composable content that can reuse across multiple channels. So the more channels that you can reach, the more tooling that you can integrate. I think that will definitely make a headless CMS a bit more robust, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, thanks for that insight, Telmo. And that openness and the ecosystem that we recently launched at Storyblok, I think, is a real key to that. Being flexible and allowing the connection to different data sources to deliver these excellent experiences. Anything to add to that, maybe from Jonathan on the future-proofed CMS or the future of CMS? What does that look like in an ideal world for you?
Yeah, I completely agree with Telmo, and I think it's about having the option to do something composable, or like you mentioned earlier, atomic design. You know, it has the concepts of you don't really know exactly where something is supposed to be used until there's a final context about it. And I think when you build your content and you structure up your content, the more you kind of think in those layers, the easier it is to keep it future proof, because you might create a new website, you might want to distribute your content in different channels, but it should be the same content or variations of it or whatever. So I think that's key. Like that you should do your like Cathy said, you should create your content for your audiences and not necessarily for the platform or the channel. Like that comes after.
Yes.
Okay. Super. Thanks for your insights on that, Jonathan. In a slightly different change of pace, obviously V2 came online this week. Super exciting for us, and that's why we're all here to celebrate today. Johannes, I'd like to ask you maybe a little bit more about the period of transition when you guys started to use V2. Can you tell us from the content editing experience from you and your team, how did that go?
So actually, I think we more or less all started 3 days ago now, when you released the feature. I had a first look as a developer a few weeks before, and I was very surprised. So I had all the features working, so nothing was missing, and that was really cool to see. And so far looks really, really promising. I think you need a few days to get used to the new interface. It's always like this. So before you maybe knew where to click exactly, but now you really need to switch. But so far the UI and usability looks very good, and it's I'm very happy to see the new version.
Brilliant. Super glad to hear that. And Telmo, maybe same question to you. How have you felt the transition has gone in the education first side in terms of activating and using these new features?
Yeah, so it's pretty much on our side still in proof of concepts and experimentation. We have a number of platforms that would take quite a bit of time to take full advantage of V2, but all of the feedback so far across the different departments, across the different teams has been great, like really, really great. One thing that, I know it's not new, but having the previews for the components that you're using, which we were not using or leveraging before, that is also a bit of a game changer for the end kind of sales, marketing pipeline type of user that doesn't really know the names that we decided to give to specific components. So all in all, through the whole ecosystem, through the whole marketing, sales, tech pipeline, it's been very well received.
Brilliant. Good to hear it, Telmo. And it's nice to hear from both of you that you're leveraging a lot of the existing capabilities and planning to add some more. Maybe just to open that up to you too, Jonathan, from the agency perspective, how have you guys felt the rollout has been from passing that over to your customers?
Most of them are just like kind of jumping into it themselves, and it seems to work. So that's great, I guess. Obviously there are some changes to the interface or big changes, but you have the core things there still, right? So it's not like it's a completely new CMS. and you know the context that your content had when you built it in the old interface. So it's easy to understand kind of the UX relevance to it in the new V2, I think.
Brilliant, brilliant. No, good to hear again, to summarize, that everybody is leveraging it, planning to leverage some of the new features that we've talked about today and just enhance that user experience with the product. So it's very exciting to hear that. Thanks, guys. And one final question that I want to throw out to the room today. Here at Storyblok, we feel that there's a business need in the market to change to this modern stack, and we're very into this ecosystem approach. And Telmo, you touched on the ease of use and integration with Storyblok as being a key benefit for you. What are the business reasons, as you guys see them, for driving this change? And Cathy, we might start with you on that final question.
Sure. I think scalability of content. So whether it's scalable of accessing the content, whether it's personalization, localization, it's about being able to do more with the content you have rather than just increasing the velocity of content creation. Content velocity itself is exponential, getting faster and faster as far as what people are looking for and the different things that they're looking for within the content and the experience. But that doesn't necessarily mean having to create exponentially more different content. It's about using the content you have that works and understanding it in a more efficient way to be able to deliver it in multiple different ways that are meeting the needs of the audiences.
Brilliant, brilliant. I think that's actually a really nice way to wrap up this panel discussion. So thank you very much, everybody, for your thoughts. It's been a pleasure to have you experts join us today and give your opinions, and super excited to see you all using V2, and hope to talk to you all again soon. But with that, I'll pass it now back to Dominic.
Thank you so much for sending it over to me, Barry, and for the amazing panel discussion. So we're not done yet. Actually, I'm kind of like going to transition out now, but please don't leave the stream yet, because right after me, there's this little surprise that our friends at Codex and our amazing marketing team produced that you should definitely check out too. It's based on a real story that happened for us ourselves when we launched our new website back in 2021, February 2021. And the characters in the thing that you're going to see afterwards are actually based on real people here at Storyblok. So definitely stay tuned on that. So be with me for another 1-2 minutes. So there are a few things that you need to do. You need to check out Storyblok version 2. With an amazing new image editor directly in the asset manager. The look and feel of the app is so much nicer and faster. You can select own data centers in different locations in the world. More to come, looking at US, at Australia as well. And there's so many amazing things that you can look out for in Storyblok version 2. So we are looking for your feedback now. So everything that you might find, be it any issues, any bugs, any new features that you expect us to implement in the next couple of months, throw them at us. We're really having an open book on our live chat. We are creating Jira tickets left and right, and our team is resolving them even faster than they have been created. So please send us everything through. We are on a hot fixing spree and then release for next week with a next update already. So please send all the feedback our way. Also, make sure if you're interested in version 2 and you don't have a project set up right now, book a demo. Our sales team is ready for you to actually get demos scheduled really fast. We're happy to present it. We have so many cool new demos in the back of our hand that you should definitely have a look at. So please book a demo, either registering on our contact us form or sending an email on sales@storyblok.com. We are thrilled to have you as a potential customer. So make sure to check it out. And really important, next week, Storyblok from the block, or Stories from the Block actually, version 2 edition is going to happen next week, Wednesday, August the 10th. That should be correct. So in 6 days from now, we will have a deep dive into version 2. So we just scratched the surface, as some of you might have done for last year, but now you can have a proper deep dive into version 2. And you can see what you can do with Storyblok. There's so much to explore. There's so much to discover. With that, one more thing to say. 2 people found the tweets from 2021 that showed the version 2 preview, or sneak peek. And I got a surprise for you tomorrow. So that event raffle has been done. There might be more coming up for emails. Some links that we have talked about will be sent out. And now enjoy something amazing that the All Marketing team together with Codex produced. And see you soon. Thanks for joining, and bye-bye.
How in the world could I forget about this?
There's no need to freak out. We have Storyblok.
Robert, you're right.
But we still need a plan.
Okay, how much time do we have left until the launch?
24 hours.
Okay, let's go.
We are ready to publish.
So let's get this baby online.